This is what happened to my body when I gave up sugar for 30 days. And no one told me about it. I thought it would be simple. I would just stop eating the obvious things. No more chocolate bars after lunch, no more fizzy drinks with my dinner. I waved goodbye to the colorful cakes in the bakery window and the sweet tempting biscuits in my kitchen cupboard. The first day felt surprisingly easy, almost a trick. I felt normal, maybe even a little proud of myself for taking this big step. I thought, this is going to be a walk in the park. I had no idea what was waiting for me just around the corner. I went to bed that first night feeling confident. I woke up on day 2 feeling much the same. I drank my black coffee, ate my plain yogurt, and went about my day. I felt a small pull towards the vending machine at work, a little whisper in my mind asking for that sugary treat I usually had mid-afternoon. But I ignored it easily enough. It was just a habit, I told myself, nothing more than a simple routine to break. The real challenge, the true test of my willpower and my body's resilience, was yet to come. Little did I know that my system was quietly preparing for a protest of epic proportions. Then, day 3 arrived. It hit me like a ton of bricks. I woke up with a dull headache pounding behind my eyes. My mood was terrible. Every little thing felt irritating, and I snapped at my colleagues for no good reason at all. The cravings were no longer a whisper, they were a deafening roar. My brain screamed for sugar. It wanted the quick, easy energy it was so used to getting. This was the beginning of the withdrawal. My body was reacting to the absence of the substance it had become dependent on for so long. It was a clear and powerful signal that a major change was underway inside me. This initial phase is a well-known biological response. When you regularly consume sugar, your brain releases dopamine, the feel-good chemical. This creates a cycle of craving and reward, very similar to other addictions. When you suddenly cut off the supply, your brain chemistry is thrown into disarray. The headaches, the irritability, and the intense cravings are all symptoms of your body trying to rebalance itself without its usual fix. It's a difficult period, but it's also a sign that your body is beginning the crucial process of healing itself from the inside out. This was just the beginning of a truly shocking transformation. The first week was, without a doubt, the hardest part of the entire experiment. The brain fog was incredible. I would walk into a room and completely forget why I was there. Trying to focus on my work felt like trying to see through a thick, dense mist. My thoughts were slow and sticky, and simple tasks required immense concentration. This is because your brain, which normally runs on glucose from sugar and carbohydrates, was struggling to find a new, stable source of fuel. It was a period of intense adjustment, and my mental clarity paid the price for it. I felt sluggish, confused, and deeply frustrated with my inability to think clearly. My mood swings were also wild and unpredictable. One moment I would feel deeply sad, on the verge of tears for no apparent reason. The next, I would be filled with a simmering, irrational anger. It was an emotional roller coaster, and I felt completely out of control. This happens because sugar intake can affect the hormones that regulate our mood, like serotonin. When you remove sugar, these hormone levels can fluctuate wildly as your body tries to find a new equilibrium. It was a challenging time for me and for everyone around me, as I navigated these powerful emotional waves without my usual sugary comfort. Sleep was another major battleground during that first week. I expected to sleep better without sugar, but the opposite happened at first. I would toss and turn for hours, unable to quiet my mind. My body felt restless, and even when I did manage to drift off, the sleep felt light and unrefreshing. This is a common side effect of sugar withdrawal. The stress on your system can increase cortisol levels, the stress hormone, which disrupts your natural sleep-wake cycle. My body was working overtime to detoxify and re-regulate, and restful sleep was simply not on the agenda just yet. But even in the midst of this difficult week, something remarkable was happening to my skin. For years I had struggled with small but persistent breakouts and a general redness on my cheeks. By day 7 I looked in the mirror and saw a noticeable difference. My skin looked calmer, and the blemishes were starting to fade away. Sugar can cause inflammation throughout the body, which often shows up on our skin as acne or redness. By removing it from my diet, I was reducing that internal inflammation, and the positive results were already becoming visible on the outside. It was the first real glimmer of hope I had. Just when I thought I couldn't continue, something shifted. Around the 2-week mark, I woke up one morning and the headache was gone. The thick brain fog that had clouded my mind for days finally began to lift. It felt like a veil had been pulled away from my eyes. Suddenly, I could think with a sharpness and clarity that I hadn't experienced in years. My focus at work became laser sharp, and my memory felt more reliable. This is because my body had successfully made a crucial switch. It was no longer desperately searching for sugar. It had started to efficiently burn fat for energy instead. This new energy source was different. It wasn't the quick, spiky rush that sugar provides, followed by a terrible crash. This was a steady, sustained energy that lasted throughout the entire day. I no longer felt that familiar mid-afternoon slump that used to send me running for a sugary snack. I felt awake and alert from the moment I got out of bed until my head hit the pillow at night. It was a profound change. My body was learning to operate on a more premium stable fuel, and the difference in my physical and mental stamina was absolutely astonishing. I felt like a completely new person. My sleep patterns also transformed dramatically. After the initial week of restlessness, I started sleeping more deeply than ever before. I would fall asleep faster, stay asleep through the night, and wake up feeling genuinely refreshed and restored. Without the disruptive effects of sugar on my hormones and blood sugar levels, my body could finally follow its natural circadian rhythm. Good quality sleep has a massive knock-on effect on everything else, from mood to cognitive function, and this was a huge part of my overall positive transformation. It felt like my body was finally getting the true rest it had been craving for so long. The cravings for sweet things also began to fade away. The loud, demanding roar for chocolate and cake quieted down to a faint whisper. What surprised me even more was that my sense of taste had changed. A piece of fruit, like an apple or a handful of berries, tasted incredibly sweet and satisfying. Foods I once found bland now had a new depth of flavor. My taste buds were recalibrating, waking up to the natural tastes of real food now that they weren't being constantly overwhelmed by artificial sweetness. This made eating healthy not just a choice but a genuine pleasure. As I approached the end of the 30 days, the culmination of all these changes was truly shocking. The most obvious transformation was physical. I had lost some weight, especially around my middle, without even trying to count calories. This is because a diet high in sugar can lead to insulin resistance, a condition where your body stores excess glucose as fat, particularly in the abdominal area. By eliminating sugar, I had allowed my insulin levels to stabilize, encouraging my body to burn that stored fat for energy instead. My clothes fit better and I felt lighter and more comfortable in my own skin. Beyond the weight loss, the other benefits were just as profound. My skin was consistently clear and had a healthy glow. My energy levels remained high and stable throughout the day, every day. The mental clarity I had discovered after 2 weeks became my new normal. I felt more resilient to stress, and my mood was consistently positive and stable. It felt like every system in my body was working better, more efficiently, and in harmony. I had set out to do a simple 30-day challenge, but I had inadvertently stumbled upon a complete system upgrade for my entire body. This journey taught me an invaluable lesson about the power of food. I learned that what we eat does so much more than just fill our stomachs. It directly impacts our brain chemistry, our hormone balance, our energy levels, and our overall well-being. The sugar that is hidden in so many of our everyday foods was having a much bigger negative effect on my life than I ever could have imagined. Removing it was not just about deprivation, it was about giving my body the chance to heal and show me how good it was designed to feel. It was an investment in my long-term health that paid off in ways I never anticipated. The 30 days were up, but I knew this was more than a temporary experiment. I had experienced a fundamental shift in how I felt, and there was no going back to my old ways. The benefits were too great to give up. The experience was powerful, challenging, and ultimately, life-changing. It opened my eyes to how much control we have over our own health, starting with what we choose to put on our plates. It has left me with one very important question for you. Could you go 30 days without sugar? Comment yes or no.